Hi there, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 367. I am Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph, and today is Monday, May 24th, and happy Victoria Day to any of my Canadian viewers. I hope you've had a lovely long weekend. We will be having our long weekend here in the US for Memorial Day weekend this coming weekend, so then hopefully we'll all have a good time too, or you all, my other US friends. How have you been? It's been a couple of weeks since I recorded, actually 2 weeks today. Let's see, we're going to get right into it because I have tried to start recording this I don't know how many times, and I've been interrupted or gotten way off track every time, so I just want to get us on through this today. So we're going to just jump right in to 90%. Let's go with some finished objects first. I finished my last two Shortish socks, so number 9 and number 10. Number 9 you saw started. This one is the Awakening colorway. I did this one out of my Squoosh 2.0 base, which is a Corriedale nylon blend, superwash Corriedale, and I love how it turned out. I love this colorway. I always say that, but anyway, so now I have a sock out of it. And then number 10 is my Chambray colorway out of my Bounce base, and it is my 10th sock. These don't really look like they go together. Most of my other, like 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, they all kind of looked sort of like they went together in some way. These do not, but they'll probably still get worn together because that seems to be the way I'm wearing them. But I'm really happy to have all 10 of these Shortish socks done. If you've been following along, I decided I was going to use up my larger balls of leftover fingering weight sock yarn, my Fiber Nymph Dye Works leftovers, to make just single shorty socks that would be mismatched, and I'll just wear them together mismatched, and I have been enjoying them because as I finish them and show them to you, then they go into my rotation, and I've been wearing them, although it has now gotten unseasonably warm, so I'm not wearing socks. I'm wearing flip-flops, but at least I have them. So number 9 and number 10 are finished, and I'm calling it quits for the shorty sock project for the time being. 10 was my original goal, and I've met it. I'm not going to go through all of the specs again with how many rows I did everything, but it's basically just a plain vanilla sock pattern. I did stockinette socks for 8 of them, and then there were 2 of them that I did do a ribbed sock, but these 2 are stockinette. So anyway, and you know, this shadow that comes in right here is from the window over here, in case you ever wonder, because it's weird. Yeah, so anyway, socks are done. Happy to have those finished, and I will probably make more at some point in time, just not right now, because I'm done, and I just threw them onto the bed, and they went boop, boop, boop onto the floor. So now that those are done, I am working on other socks, because I have, as always, other socks cast on. So one of the other socks that I'm working on is my Fungi Pi Socks. I don't remember if I showed you this finished one yet or not. I can't remember. But this is what the Fungi Pi looks like. This was my Pi Day colorway this year. So Fungi Pi, all the mushroom colorways, and this is a 2x1 ribbed sock. I do all of my fingering weight socks on US 1 needles usually, unless I specify otherwise. It's US 1, and this was on my Mountain Tweed BFL base. So the first one's done. This is an exceptionally long sock for me. I may see if my husband is interested in them. I'm not sure if he'll like him because it's got this pink, and he's not a big fan of pink, but I could rip out the toe and make it the foot just a little bit longer, and it would fit him, and he does like a ribbed sock. So I don't know. We'll see. They may become his. But for right now, I'm calling them mine. And here's the second one. I've got the whole cuff done on the second one, and I'm on the gusset decreases. So the heel flap and heel turn is done on the gusset decreases. So there you go. Coming along, and I think I'm going to hold off finishing that until we get to the end of this week, because the Down Cellar Studio splash pad party begins on Friday, and you can use whips. Whips count in the splash pad party. The pigskin party that Jen does, they do not. And I will talk a bit more about the splash pad party a little later on in the podcast. So anyway, but that is one project that I'm probably going to hold off finishing until then. Then another sock that I'm working on is also related to the Splash Pad Party. This is my Splash Pad Party exclusive colorway because I, as Fiber Nymph Dye Works, am a Pro Shop sponsor for the Splash Pad Party again this year. And so I always do an exclusive colorway, and this is this year's. This is called Summer Stripes. And it's nice, bright, bold colors, and there is a listing up in the shop now for pre-orders that I'm going to be working on quite shortly. And I hope to put some actually in stock come this weekend, but I can't promise that because I want to get the pre-orders done first. But anyway, this is my sock. So it's also through the, it's funny, it's through the gusset decreases, and I was to the point where I was just knitting round and round on the foot. However, I had just gotten to that point last night. Bill and I were in here watching a movie, and so I got to that point during the movie, and then I put it away, went to bed, and then I got up this morning, and I had a Zoom call that I had to do at 6:30 a.m., and I grabbed this because I thought, oh, this would be a really good thing for me to be able to knit on during this Zoom call because I'm just going round and round, except for whatever reason, we'll say I didn't have enough coffee, I started into this, and I started doing decreases again. Don't ask me why. And then I got to a point where I'm like, boy, these decreases are in weird places. Why is this happening? What's going on? And then it dawned on me that I was putting decreases in that did not need to be there, and they were indeed in weird places. And so I now have to tank back about 2 or 3 rounds to remove all the weird, unnecessary decreases. It happens. But anyway, this is my Bounce base, and I just love these colors. I think they're so happy and so summery. So anyway, this will definitely be a Splash Pad Party project because that's the first sock, so the second sock still has to come. I'm trying to think about what other projects I'm going to have for my Splash Pad Party projects. Yeah. I don't know why I jumped. I totally am not following my show notes because I showed you my finished shorty socks and then I went into other socks, but I have other finished objects. So we're going to bounce back to finished objects. My Amberle shawl. Let's go with that because it's finished. I'm so excited about this. And I have not yet taken the pretty pictures, but I'm going to do that before I process the video, so I will be able to insert them and you'll be able to see them a little bit better because this is a huge shawl and I cannot back up nearly enough to show this to you. But here it is in all its Amberle glory. Look how pretty that border is. I love this border pattern. That stitch motif is just gorgeous. Those are wrapped stitches and you do like 3 different wraps and then you're dropping wraps and it makes it just, I love that pattern. And then there's also, you know, the motif on here, which is not really a wrapped pattern. That's like a pass one over kind of thing, but it's similar. Anyway, I am so happy with this. I had it done, I think I finished it shortly after I recorded last time, and then it sat here because I was waiting for a nice day outside so that I could soak it and then block it out on the deck because that's my best place to block things where cats aren't going to get to them. I run the risk of birds pooping on them, but thankfully that didn't happen. It was funny though because the day that I did block it last week, it was so hot that like this thing was soaked and I had spun the excess water out of it, but by the time I was out on the deck with it and running the blocking wires through it and getting it all pinned out, it was almost completely dry before I even had it pinned out. So then I had to go out with a squirt bottle and I just doused it really, really good and made it wet again. So it blocked out to well over my wingspan. Like it's, I know you can't see, but it's beyond my fingertips on both sides. So that means it's over, I haven't measured it yet, but I would say it's probably close to 6 feet long because I am 5'4", so it's probably not quite 6 feet. Anyway, it's a wide shawl and it's also very deep. It's going to be great for this winter to like just bundle up in. It's interesting because it's elongated, but not quite as elongated as my Hedgewit shawl. So I don't know that I'll be able to wrap these ends around and tuck them in behind me like I can with that, but I can probably tuck them in like in the front of my pants to keep it on because I like doing that with these big woolly shawls. It's going to be really just so scrumptious. Even like in the chilly mornings in the summer, I think it'll be nice. So I made this with my Ridgetop DK, which is my non-superwash base. It's an 80-20 blend of Romney and Falkland. And this color is brushed steel, and then the edging is in Wisp. And I am just so happy with it. And like I said, I will hopefully be able to pop some better pictures in here before I upload the video so you can see it. I would say I'm very happy with everything about this shawl. I think the only thing I would maybe do differently if I made it again is this beginning bit up here that doesn't have any patterning. I'm not crazy about that. And that was actually sort of tricky to block so that it didn't want to stick up. I mean, I did get it so that it runs straight, but you can tell it's just a little wibbly wobbly there. I think I would probably put some patterning into it now, knowing what I know now. I think I could do that, but that's just such a minor thing because no matter how I wear it, whether I have it wrapped around me or if I would wear it like this, I mean, you're never going to see that little bit. You know, this would be, yeah, that's, I think it's a little too bulky to wear this way. Yeah, I couldn't wear it this way. That would be crazy. But, okay, now I'm stuck in it. Anyhow, so yeah, my Amberle is done. I'm very, very pleased with it, and I'm so glad to have it in my shawl lineup, my big woolly shawl lineup. I am going to share this with you now because it's just relevant to the topic. I broke down and treated myself to this book, which I know you can't see the title, but you probably know what it is. It's the 52 Weeks of Shawls by Laine Magazine, Laine Magazine. I did not get their 52 Weeks of Socks because I don't really knit patterned socks. I like to knit just plain vanilla kind of socks. But I've seen this book on enough podcasts now that I was like, I need that book. There are beautiful shawls in here, and I really do love knitting shawls. I was a shawl knitter at the very beginning when I started knitting. Socks and shawls were my thing. But then after I started knitting sweaters, I kind of got away from shawls because I didn't always wear shawls as much. But I also used to knit a lot of very small, like shawlette kind of shawls that are fine if you want to wear them as a scarf or inside a jacket. But I like things that you can really wrap around yourself, you know. So, and there's a lot of those in here. And there were two patterns that I knew I wanted to make out of here, and I probably won't be able to find them right off the bat. But the one is by Lerka from the Fiber Tales podcast. She's got a shawl in here, which is a really unique construction. It's a steeked shawl, and I would really like to give that a go. And then Alex Burks, who I took the Rosamina class with, she has a shawl in here as well. I cannot find them, and I'm not gonna try to buzz through here. There's beautiful, beautiful pictures in here. This one's super pretty. I mean, just like, look at that detail. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh. That's Wildflowers by Katya Gorbacheva. Gorbacheva? I don't know. Some of the ones in here are actually more scarf-like than they are shawls. Like, I would not consider that a shawl. That definitely looks more like a scarf, but it's interesting. So some things are smaller. Oh, here, this, I think this is, yes, this is Lerka's. Oh my gosh, it's called, what is it? Alv, A-L-V. The A has the little umlaut over the top there. Here, let me show it to you. It's color work. Isn't that gorgeous? And I love the smile on the model. She's got a great smile. Anyway, this shawl is just so lovely. I really want to make that. And where is the Rosamina shawl? I feel like it was in the beginning section. It's broken into sections, and I'm not sure what that indicates. I haven't had a chance to just sit down and really like go through the entire book yet, because it came on a busy day and it's been busy ever since. Oh, this one is another one that's just gorgeous. I love this, the lace and cable-y detail there. Anyway, I'm sorry, I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't going to go through this, but I really did want to find the Rasmine. Where is it? I thought it was towards the beginning. Oh, here it is. This is all those little Estonian colorwork details. So anyway, and that one is called, what's it called? Where is it? Halliste. H-A-L-L-I-S-T-E. Halliste. So anyway, 52 weeks of shawls. If you want to treat yourself or want to have somebody else treat yourself, I think it's a wonderful book. And I got this one. I usually buy these books through the Woolly Thistle, but this one I picked up from Leading Men Fiber Arts. They're carrying this book in their shop. They have a physical shop now, which I think is amazing, and I hope someday I get to go visit Steve and Andy there. But they are carrying a whole lot more things now other than just their own dyed yarn, like a lot of books and bags and notions and kits for things and just all kinds of cool stuff. So you could check their website out too, but that's where I got that book. So, and it was free shipping. Yeah, it was free shipping. It's funny because it was actually priced higher than what the Woolly Thistle has it for, but to just buy the book at the Woolly Thistle, it would not have been free shipping. So I think it probably evened out. Anyway, I am definitely jumping all over the place today with the show notes. All right, so I showed you Amberle. Amberle is by Shannon Cook, by the way. I know I didn't say that, and I did that all in US 7s. I told you about the yarn. The other finished object I have for you, though, is the glass ceiling hat. I believe I had it started when I recorded last. And this is a pattern by Jennifer Lassonde, who Jen is the one who has the Down Cellar Studio podcast and is sponsoring the, or hosting the splash pad party that I keep referring to. So here's my finished hat. And this is my yarn. This is my Beguiled base, which is a Superwash DK sparkle base. And this was one of my serendipitous stripes that I had in my last update, which, by the way, thanks so much if you shopped that update. So I had pulled this skein out for myself. And it's interesting. I mean, looking at it here, I can definitely see these slipped stitch, these details, these past stitches over. I'm not sure how well you're able to see them, especially because I've got that weird shadow thing going on here in my window. But can you see those? They're in sets of 3. So like here's a set of 3 and then here's a set of 3. And they alternate like that. They stagger. The hat fits me really well. Like this is a great fitting hat and it's nice and stretchy so it would stay on and it doesn't, you know, it's short enough that it doesn't droop down. This is a perfect size hat for me, and I think this will make a really good hat for like when I'm camping and want to have a hat on at night. It won't come off. So, and you can actually see the detail of it better when it's on, I think. Sorry, that shadow really bothers me, but I can't remove my window. So anyway, so that is my finished hat. Can't really even tell that I had the hat on because my hair was a crazy mess to begin with. So there's the top. So yeah, that was a fun hat. It's a nice just palette cleanser kind of project, you know. What do I want to tell you about that? Glass ceiling hat, US 4 and US 6 needles, and that's really all there is to tell you. It was very easy. Jen's patterns are very well written and easy to follow. So highly recommend. All right, let's see. I already showed you my work in progress socks. My other work in progress that I was going to show you is my Busy Bee throw, which will be a wrap, my Busy Bee wrap. I've finished the 4th row, so here we have it. This is another long item, and the bottom row that you can see, that's the one I just finished. And I can tell that because, okay, not on that end. but once you get to right there, that one right above my nose, you can see that's outlined in a totally different color, and that's where I started to incorporate this mini skein that came, this is so weird, that came with the full skein of yarn that I got last year for Christmas from Tomboy Fen Bags. Her give yourself or open your own present or give yourself a present. I don't remember. It was sort of like a pre-Christmassy, Adventy sort of thing. But anyway, it came with a full skein and a mini skein that went with it. And I've been using both of those to do the outlining. And I'm glad I started using the mini because I'm definitely going to run out. I think I'm probably going to run out no matter what. I will probably end up having to dye myself something to finish doing the outlining. But I did start to incorporate it every once in a while. So I've finished that row. So you can see how these ends are kind of showing up now. I have enough hexies to do 2 more rows. So I'm going to do 2 more rows. And then I think there should be about 10 hexies left. I'm going to use those to fill in on the ends and shape it. This is not going to be a straight edged throw because I'm not going to do like partial hexies in there to make that straight. Like I don't care. I don't want it straight. I actually would like it to have that kind of honeycomb edge. But what I do want to do on the ends, see, like that's odd. And I don't care about it being odd, but I think what I want to do is instead of trying to make it sort of square at the end, so I've got a long rectangle, I'm going to have the upper and lower edge be straight, but then I want the outer edges to be, that would make it what, a parallelogram? Yeah, because this would be a trapezoid. Parallelogram. I want it to be sort of vaguely parallelogram shaped. So I will use whatever hexies are left over once I'm done with the next 2 rows, and I will shape it as best I can. It's going to be irregular. That's kind of the whole point. I am still trying to decide whether I want to do a final edge around the whole outside or not. I mean, obviously I will not have enough of any of this yarn left to do that. I would definitely need to do something else for that. But honestly, I don't know that I'm going to need to. I kind of like how it looks without like a cohesive color. I was thinking maybe I would need a cohesive color, but I don't really know that I will. I might make that decision once it's all done and I block it and I see what it looks like. Then I may decide to do one final outline, but I might not. I don't know. We'll see. But that's where that is, and that is a Shayna Scott pattern. It's called the Busy Bee Throw. I'm using a D hook, and the hexies were made out of all the little fingering weight minis that I got in my Indie Dyer swap for Advent swap last year. And those were all 20-gram skeins, which is why I got so many hexies. Alrighty, so that is that. I already mentioned the splash pad party and how I'm going to hold off on those 2 socks. Well, the one I don't have to hold off. I'm only on the first one, but the other one I'm going to hold off on that second sock, and I'm going to let that be one of my splash pad party projects. The Busy Bee Throw I'm hoping to finish up during the splash pad party. And I've been trying to go through my projects to see what else I might do during the splash pad party. I'm not really feeling hardcore, like I have to have a plan, because I'm just not feeling that driven about any of my knitting or crocheting right now. Like, I want to do it, but like I'll do it as I come to it. Like, I haven't even been doing a lot of knitting like at the table, like usually at the dinner table when we're done eating, or in the morning when I'm having coffee with Bill or whatever. I'm sitting there knitting, and I just haven't been lately. Even my mornings, like after he starts work and I haven't started work yet, I usually have a couple of hours and I come in here, or I sit, I've started to sit out on the deck a couple times because it's gotten nice out. And, I'll crochet or I'll knit, or sometimes I'll draw or whatever. I just haven't been. I don't know what's going on with me lately. I'm just sort of in I won't say it's a slump. I'm not feeling drawn to any of it, and so I'm not forcing myself to do it, because I know eventually it'll cycle back around and I'll feel like doing things. I think I've just had a lot of other stuff going on in my brain that's taking up what would ordinarily be that kind of creative space. And it's been switched out with, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I'm taking a couple of different courses that are totally not anything fiber related, so I'm not even going to go into that stuff right now. But I think maybe some of that is just sort of taking up brain space. That, and also I have been very busy. Like, May has turned out to be one of the busiest work months that I've had in a very, very long time. And it's going to be continuing through the end of the month, really, because I have a lot to get done this week. So I think part of it's just that I've been starting work earlier in the day. So all that to say is I do have projects that I'm hoping to actually finish for the splash pad party, just for fun, not because I'm competing for anything. I don't really care about the prizes. I just want to have fun and participate in some way. I definitely will not be trying to spin. Like, I haven't spun in much in over a year because it's just not conducive in the situation right now with, you know, Bill out in the porch room. Although I can spin out on the deck in the nice weather. So maybe I'll get the bug and take my wheel out there or something. Who knows? I do want to do a bunch of weaving this summer, though, because this past week I took a day, well, not an entire day, but I took a couple of hours, and I was sort of tossing my stash, because I knew I wanted to rearrange some of my stash and put some stash that has been in my cubbies in bins and put it away out in my cargo trailer for now, and then bring some stuff that had been out there inside so that I can just rotate it and maybe be, you know, inspired by different materials that I have on hand. I did that with fabric too, because, like, have I sewn lately? No, I haven't. Would I like to? Yes. I hope to do that this summer. So anyway, I was organizing my fiber stash and my fabric stash, and where was I going with this? Oh, weaving. I pulled out a lot of yarn that I would like to weave with, and I didn't segregate it that way, and I think I should have at the time, and so I may, when I have a moment, just take some time and pick a bin, get an empty bin, and put all the yarn that I would like to weave with this summer in there. And my goal, here's what I would like to do. You know those woven fringy cowls that I've made? I think I would like to make a collection of those and then put them in my shop and sell them, like, as finished objects, because I would not do that with knitted things or crocheted items so much. But I know not everybody weaves, so if that's something that, like, people might like and be able to purchase as gifts coming in the fall, I would like to have that. I think it would be a fun addition to the shop. Yeah, so that's where my thought is there. I would like to branch out and offer those. So I would like to do some weaving. So that would also count, you know, for Splash Pad Party. And also Stash Dash, I believe, also starts this coming weekend. I have not looked into Stash Dash at all. That's sponsored by the Knit Girls. I used to do it every year. I haven't really done it, like, dedicatedly in a few years now. And I don't know that I will this year either. But for those of you who might be interested in it, you might want to check that out. Laura and Leslie of the Knit Girls. And my other thought was, do you remember, if you've watched the podcast for several years, you might remember this. I believe it was the summer of I want to say 2018. It may have been as far back as 2017. But no. I'm going to say 2018. Just based on other things. 2018. Do you remember I did the Summer of Me? That sounds just so self-centered when I say it, but that's basically what I was calling it, the Summer of Me. And the whole concept was I wanted to take, like, every week during that summer, I wanted to take some time out away from here and just go and do something specific for me. And, like, one day I went and I did a motorcycle ride by myself, which I was still I feel like I'm still a fairly new rider, but, you know, that was something I had never done before, so I did that. And I can't remember other things I did. That was also the summer that I did my combo spin. I started my combo spin. I did some sewing. Like, the concept was to do things that I don't ordinarily do. So I did it that year, 2018, and I remember trying to do it again in 2019. I don't think I got very far. And then 2020 was just a giant shit show, and, you know, obviously did not do anything like that. So now here we are, 2021, and I kind of want to do it again, but less structured, like not like it was highly structured, but I'm not even sure how to explain it. Like I want to make sure that I'm doing things that feed me, you know, like creatively, and just nourish me and my soul in other ways other than just working all the time or doing what I have to do around the house. So, you know, the things that I enjoy doing. Like, I have not had my kayak out yet this year. It is the end of May, and that is unheard of. I usually have it out at least a few times by now. I haven't kayaked. I haven't ridden my bike. I think I rode my bike maybe once last summer. No, last summer I don't think I read it at all, actually. I don't know. Those are the kind of things I want to start doing again. Take hikes, you know, go for a hike. I want to sew. I want to do more wood burning. I would like to do lots of weaving. I would like to do some stone work with gems and stones. Oh gosh, what else? I'm looking over here because my shelves over here, and I have all kinds of things just sitting out there waiting for inspiration to strike. Drawing, painting. Oh, I came upon a really cool blog, and I'm going to write that down on my notes here so I remember to link it. Not a blog, a podcast. Oh my gosh. I want to call it the Accidental Gypsy. I don't know. I'll look it up. Her name is Wendy, I believe, and she's from the UK, and she's an artist, and her podcast is fascinating to me. She's very soft-spoken and very easygoing, and her videos reflect that, but she's got such insights about the creative life and in a real hands-on kind of way, and like what works for her and what's inspiring for her and how she, you know, organizes stuff to make the most of her time creating. And I've watched several of her videos. I kind of binged them a couple of days. Really enjoyed them. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was called. I think it's something gypsy. It's either the Accidental Gypsy or the Inadvertent Gypsy or something like that. I don't know. And she and her partner had lived in a van for a while, like by choice. They had traveled around. I guess they did that for a few years. So she talks about that sometimes too. It was really very cool. So anyway, why did I jump into that? Oh, I think maybe just because some of her videos have been very inspiring for me in both, you know, organizing my creativity, like my materials, and having them there in a way that they're accessible to me so that I can use them when I take the time, when I make the time to do that. And another thought that I had, I apologize. I am definitely all over the place right now, but this is how I'm thinking right now. Anyway, another thought that I had after watching some of her videos is I think I'm going to rearrange the hutch on my desk over in my office, because you might remember last year around this time, it was right before my daughter moved home, I had organized that room and moved my desk into there so that I could use it to work, because it had been in the other, like my husband's office, it had been on the other wall in there. It's a very dark room. It was not inviting. I never used the desk, and it's a beautiful desk. He bought it for me for my birthday the year we got married. Gorgeous desk. And it's got this nice big hutch with all these cupboards and shelves and things, and so they're full of books. And I love my books, and they're all crafty books, you know, knitting books, crochet books, some quilting books. Oh, I'd like to quilt too. Oh my gosh. Not like big quilts, but like small quilts. I'd like to do some quilting. Anyway, I decided after watching some of her videos, I was sparked with the idea to take the books out of most of those cupboards and shelves in that hutch And I have other places I can store my books, because they're not really books that I use on a regular basis. They're more like resources that I can go to if I'm looking something up, or, if I want specific patterns, they're in there. But I think I'm going to use them to put some of my other creative materials that are non-fiber related in there, so that they're easy access and I can get to them and use them as I want to. Another thing that was very inspiring in that respect is Sarah from the Fiber Trek podcast. She did one of her more recent podcasts. She showed her creative space in her house, because she's just recently redone that and put up some shelves and everything. Same kind of deal though, like putting things where you can see them and where they're in easy access. And it just makes it so much easier to actually use them whenever they're that way, rather than being stashed away in a closet in a dark space where you never see it. It makes a lot of sense. So anyway, that's kind of a project that I have in mind for the coming weeks, so that hopefully this summer I can make use of a lot of the materials that I have and that I have had around, both fiber arts and otherwise. So your mileage may vary. Do you have things that you wish you would be using and you haven't? What's a way that you could like bring them out of the dark? It could be as easy as just taking a basket like this. That's all that's in the basket right now. But like, I keep this basket here in the bedroom, and I usually toss things in it if I'm going to go like outside or want to go out on the deck. I can carry all my stuff in there, but it's a nice vessel for that kind of thing. But you could use that sort of thing. Let's say you wanted to dedicate a couple of weeks to a particular project, like, I don't know, like drawing. Like maybe you want to do some drawing and watercoloring. You could put your notebooks in there, your sketchbooks, your pens, and just have it all in a basket that's easy for you to take wherever it is that you want to work on it. Or if you want to do like beadwork or something, whatever it is, you can put you don't have to have every single thing in there. Just take enough that you can work on things and have it portable and accessible. I think that would be an excellent idea. And I'm telling that to you as well as to myself. Okay. We've gone off the beaten path again. But actually we didn't, because I was going to talk about that anyway. It's just out of order. All right, so moving on from the splash pad party, which is a great make-along that I am not hosting. If you want to know more about the splash pad party, though, I will link that in the show notes. Jen has all that information up on her blog as well as the Ravelry page, so you can find it both places. We have the 2021 Nature Mals. I will say the Flora prizes, which I announced the prize winners last time, I have the prizes ready to ship out. They're going in the mail tomorrow. I heard back from both winners almost immediately, and it's taken me this long to get the prizes out. I am sorry, ladies. I really am. But they're packed. They've got postage on them. They're ready to go tomorrow. So right now we're in Fauna. So Fauna is underway through the end of June. Any of your projects that meet the criteria and have the theme Fauna, and be as creative as you want to be in order to get your projects to meet that theme criteria. So all of that information can be found both in the Ravelry thread as well as on my blog on the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group. So again, I will link to all of that. Also with regard to the kickoff for the Down Cellar Studio Splash Pad Party, don't forget I'm doing a Zoom on Saturday the 29th at 2 p.m. Right? Yes. Saturday the 29th, 2 p.m. That link is in, Jen is publishing all that information. I will again link to where all that information is being published for the kickoff weekend, because I'm not the only one doing Zooms. There's a lot of things going on that weekend coming up. So if you'd like to take part, check out that schedule. Okay, let's jump to shop news, the state of the studio. First of all, again, thank you so much if you shopped the Serendipitous Stripes update that was 2 Fridays ago. That was really fun. There's still a few stripes left, not a lot, but if you are interested, you can check that out. Also, I've recently added a whole lot of like single sets of inversibles, so like one of each color combo that's up there. There's just about only one set because I've done a lot of inversible special orders lately, but I dye inversibles in sets of 2, so that always leaves one that I can put in the shop. So there's a lot of inversibles up there right now. If you're looking for inversibles, check that out. I also left some of the make your own pie, personalized pie listings up there. So I talked about those last time. That is a situation where if you buy one of those, you can choose your own colors for your own Pie Day colorway. And it's been really fun hearing back from the people who have ordered them because some of them have really special colors that they want to use. But even if you don't have anything like earth shattering and you just say, hey, I like greens and oranges, can you make me a color? Yes, absolutely, I can do that for you. So anyway, there's still some of those up in the shop if you would like to do that. Check the listing out for all of the details. There's different options as far as yarn bases and how they'll be put together. So you can check that out. That is a dye to order, obviously. So that would be a 6-week turnaround. I am still working on getting the April 11th Allentown dye to orders done. This was the Drive PA East-West colorway. I had them all dyed up about a week ago. And after I dyed them, I looked at them and realized these don't look right. I had totally messed up. I read my recipe wrong, is what I did. I used all the right colors, I just did not apply it with the right technique. So they are all wrong and I could not send them out. And I did write to anybody who is affected by this who should have their yarn by now. And thankfully everybody's been super sweet and understanding. But anyway, that's like number 1 on my agenda right now is getting those finished up so I can get those shipped out this week because I hate sending things out late. So those, and then I have some other dye to orders that are coming up due, so I'm working on those. I have a lot of plans and I'm going one thing at a time, basically trying to make sure I get things up there. I do not have any more shop updates scheduled right now, but I am hopeful that I will have one going up in early June. So stay tuned about that. But the one thing that will be going up in June, and I'm hopeful, cross your fingers, that I can get this ready to be up by June 1st, is the pre-orders for my holiday countdown sets for this year. I'm telling you what, it feels like this isn't meant to be this year. It is. It will happen. But man, I have run into roadblock after roadblock in planning these. Which is ironic because I knew what I wanted to do for the colors last year when I was doing last year's. So it's not what I want to dye it. It's the yarn. We are still running into shortages due to, well, originally it was because of mills being closed for extensive periods of time last year because of COVID, and then working at, not full capacity after that. And I'm sure there's still some of that going on, but there's also a lot of issues with shipping, like actual like cargo ship kind of shipping. From what I understand, there are ships to ship, but the cargo containers aren't there. They aren't where they need to be, and there's a shipping cargo container shortage because like the ship that's going to take your stuff is here and here's your stuff, but it's not in a container. The container is way over here in this other part of the world, and there's no ships to bring those containers. And anyway, yeah. So all that to say is the 10-gram minis that I normally use for my holiday countdown sets, I can't get right now. I do not know when I will be able to get them. Supposedly sometime over the summer they're going to come in, but I don't have a guarantee. And I will not pre-sell something that I do not either have in stock myself right here, or do not have a guarantee that I can get. So I have made the decision that this year's holiday countdown sets are going to be different than all the previous years, and instead of doing sets of 24 10-gram minis, I'm going to be doing sets of 12 20-gram minis. There's also a shortage of the 20-gram minis, to tell you the truth, but I had more of those in stock already, plus I was just able to get a pretty decent shipment in Bounce, so I do have a lot of the Bounce ones. And I am hopeful, fingers crossed, that I'll be able to get more, because I use those a lot anyway, just for my minis in the shop. So I will be doing it that way. It's the same amount of yarn, it's just in the larger quantity for 12 days instead of the smaller quantity for 24 days. I am offering it on a select number of bases, and unfortunately at this point in time I don't think it will be on Bedazzle. I don't think I'll have a sparkle base this time. I can't get the minis, and I have very few of those left in my own inventory. So they're probably going to be on Bounce, Mountain Tweed Merino, so that's my fingering weight mini Mountain Tweed. My full skein Mountain Tweed is Mountain Tweed BFL, but the minis come on Merino. They work together just fine. I think I'm going to do them on Linnaeus, which is the yak base. I really think this color progression that, or not really a progression, it's not a progression this year, but the color family that I'm going to be doing I think would turn out really nice on my yak base. That is that soft brown color to begin with. I think that I'm thinking about offering it in that, and then cozy. I think I'm going to do it on worsted weight minis too this year. And then I'm also planning to still do a fiber option or two as well, because I know some people like that. There will still be a full skein, full braid option. This year, however, the main difference beside the size of the minis will be that I'm going to be offering it in my shop. It's going to actually be a shop listing. It's not going to be through a form like I've done before. And because of the fact that there is a limitation on how much yarn I can get in the minis, there will be limits on how many orders I can take. Hopefully I'll be able to put up enough to meet the needs, or the wants, I guess. I'm doing the best I can. I cannot sell something that I don't know for sure that I'm going to be able to have in stock, because I would never want to disappoint anybody in that way. So hopefully you guys understand. I'm also planning to have a pattern included with the sets this year. I think that would be fun, and I can envision what I want to do. So I haven't designed it yet, but I'm hoping. Well, no, it will happen. I just have to write it out. Anyway, all that to say is I am planning to have those in the shop coming June 1st, and they will be up June 1st through June 30th, or until supplies run out. Be signed up for my newsletter. You can sign up for that by going to the Fiber Nymph Dye Works website, clicking on the newsletter link up at the top, and sign up there. Get on the newsletter or watch social media, because I'll definitely post it on Instagram, which also will post it to Facebook, the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Facebook page. So those are the best ways to stay abreast of that, because if all goes well, that listing should be up before the next time I record. And I have no idea how quickly they would sell out. So, and once they're gone, unless I will be able to get more minis in, which again, at this point, I cannot guarantee that. So it's that kind of year, folks. What else? I think that's everything for shop news. Let's just talk real quick about some things that are bringing me joy. The weather has definitely turned sort of that pre-summer kind of thing. We had weather in the 80s last week. It was a little crazy. But Emma and I were able to get our garden planted last week, which was fun. We have everything in seeds so far this year. We haven't bought any plants. And we decided we're sticking mainly with herbs and flowers this year, and some veggies. Like we put in lettuce and beans and peas and radishes and onions. And I've never planted onions from seeds. I've planted like onion sets before, the little tiny onions, but I've never done onion seeds. That'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Anyway, yeah, so that's in, and we got a really good rain last night and today, so that should be helpful. We do have things sprouting already though, so that's super fun. We need to get some flowers yet though to put around the perimeter, so we'll do that one day this week. The other thing that's bringing me joy and is exciting, especially in the fact that I hadn't been expecting it, is Bill and I are going to be taking a 5-day motorcycle trip mid-June. Long story short, he's got over 60 days of vacation time that he needs to take this year, because last year he didn't get to take hardly any at all, other than what he took while, working on the deck in the house, and then we did a short motorcycle trip last year. But because of COVID, they allowed them to carry over more vacation than they usually are allowed to. So he's not only got this year's vacation, but he's got a lot of last year's vacation time. And he's retiring next year. And he has to, so that means he'll even get more vacation time next year before he retires. And so it's not going to do him much good to carry more over into next year, because he has to use it before he retires or he loses it. So we sat down the other day and we're like, okay, we have to figure out 60 days worth of time this year that you can take off. And he's got all this work to do too. He's crazy busy with work. So we've got some chunks of time coming up this year that I think we're going to be taking some, I want to say low-key vacations, but that sounds weird. Secluded vacations, vacations where we're not staying in hotels and being around a lot of people, because even though we're vaccinated and a lot of people are vaccinated and they're saying it's okay to be out, we're still being cautious. So anyway, the first thing we're doing is we are doing a 5-day motorcycle trip, backcountry motorcycle trip. It's actually the second half of the trip that we took last summer. You might remember about that. I only got to do part of that trip because I was sick, and so I ended up meeting him halfway through that trip. We did the Pennsylvania segment last year. It's the BDR, the Backcountry Discovery Route, the Mid-Atlantic one. I'll put a link to it if you're interested. Anyway, so it's all backcountry, mostly dirt roads and gravel and stuff like that. Some of it's pretty rural, but we're going to be doing the southern part of it. So that goes from Petersburg, West Virginia is about the area where we got off last year. So we'll be going from Petersburg, West Virginia, down through West Virginia, Virginia, into Virginia, and then to the Virginia-Tennessee border, right, I think around Damascus. So that will be the section we'll be doing this year. So yeah, we have that all planned out. I have our camping reservations for each night already booked, and he's got the bikes looked at and ready to go. So it's really, at this point, just a matter of packing what we're going to need. The nice thing this year is the fact that we can at least eat out. If we want to, we can eat at restaurants. We don't have to take all of our food like we did last year. So that'll be good, because there's enough, small places along the route that we would be able to, even just get takeout and take back to the campgrounds or something. So that's a positive thing. But I'll tell you what, this has been one of the easiest trips to plan. Usually it takes a lot more to get these things planned, but for such a short notice thing, I'm really impressed that we got it planned that easily. And I'm looking forward to it, because I'm not a trail rider. I will be driving my Ural, which is my sidecar rig, built pretty much for doing that kind of terrain. I probably will not ride the trail bike much at all, but I'm looking forward to it. I fell a lot on the trail bike last year, and I don't want to fall. I'm old now. I don't like falling. It hurts. So I'm far less likely to fall off of something that has 3 wheels. Anyway, that's what's going on in life right now. I feel like I've talked a whole lot here, and I probably have forgotten things that I wanted to tell you, but hopefully not. And again, anything that you have questions about, feel free to email me or leave them in the comments, and I will be happy to get back to you. Again, I wanted to make sure that you know how the holiday countdown sets are going to work this year, because I've gotten a lot of questions about those. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask. I'm trying to think anything else. Yeah, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, comments, or email me, fibernymph@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of me. I do not respond very quickly to Ravelry messages or to direct messages on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, anything like that. Those aren't places that I'm at frequently. So those aren't the best ways to reach me. If you want a timely response, please email me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Anyway, all right. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are finding things that are bringing you joy. Do you have plans for the summer? I hope you're starting to make some sort of plans for the summer and warm temperatures or cool temperatures if you're in the southern hemisphere. Ooh, are you guys anywhere where you're going to get to see the blood moon eclipse? Like, is it tonight? Is it tonight into tomorrow? By the time you see this, it'll probably already have happened. So if you saw it, let me know, because we're not really going to see it here. We're not in the right part of the country, and it's also probably going to be overcast. So I don't know that we'll see much of anything, but let me know, because I love that kind of stuff. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, all right. Take care, guys, and I will talk to you again in a couple of weeks probably. So, bye.